So what do fake news, The Onion, and sweet rides have all in common? Well, in today's vlog episode, we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about how we're going to help you position your brand or your startup as a disruptor in its vertical. Are you guys ready? Start your engines. Like the Chief Operating Officer, Greenstone. About developing a strategic marketing plan. How many of you ever been frustrated when people ask you, hey, what makes you different from your competitors? What makes you different from this type of business that does the same exact service that you offer? Well, these questions used to drive me nuts. People used to ask me all the time, and they still do, Chase, what makes Greenstone different from other marketing agencies? If we get a website from you, how's it going to be different from this other competitor? And that used to drive me nuts. Now it doesn't. About 3 years ago, when I was at a digital summit series, one of the keynote speakers was Scott Dickers, founder of The Onion. And when I saw the headline for the keynote that he was going to be speaking on, how to make your brand a disruptor in its vertical, I thought, there's our answer. So about 4 years ago, we attended our first ever digital summit. I was so excited. We had the Greenstone team there. We had a sponsored booth there. And it was our first ever marketing trade show for Greenstone Media. Anyways, that keynote that Scott Dickers, the founder of The Onion, was presenting, again, it was how to position your brand as a disruptor in the industry, really caught my attention. I was really looking for that keynote to solve our problem at Greenstone when people asked us, what makes you different? You see, I always figured that if you were positioning your brand as a disruptor in the industry, you would never have to answer that question. So some of you may be familiar with The Onion. I believe their tagline is America's finest news source. If you know anything about The Onion, you know that The Onion is known for fake news. I remember when I was in college when Obama was campaigning against McCain, there were so many fake news articles going back and forth on Facebook. Again, this was when Facebook was really becoming popular. And it was hilarious seeing people getting confused that they didn't know these were fake news articles. Well, anyways, when we were listening to Scott Dickers' story on how he founded The Onion, there were several things that I heard that we took and implemented at Greenstone. Several things that he shared were how they were measuring success with The Onion, and that was how they were pushing out really disruptive articles that got people's attention. I'm talking about articles such as shirtless Biden washes Trans Am in White House driveway. Dolphin spends amazing vacation swimming with stockbroker. Kitten thinks nothing but of murder all day. Winter didn't even know it was a pie eating contest. Fall canceled after 3 billion seasons. Archaeological dig uncovers ancient race of skeleton people. And the list goes on and on. Anyways, several things that Scott Dickers was sharing in his story of what made The Onion such a disruptor in its industry. When they noticed they started receiving a lot of cease and desist letters from the White House, the Clinton Foundation, all sorts of just professors on the articles that they were featured in, even though it was fake news, that's when he knew that they were onto something. Because every time they received one of those cease and desist letters, that article blew up even more. All right, so now we've covered Scott Dickers and the fake news. Now we're going to talk about sweet rides and what that has to do with all this vlog so you can position your brand as a disruptor in its industry. So after that keynote that Scott Dickers did with the founder of The Onion, I spent quite a bit of time thinking on, Chase, how can we make Greenstone different from the competition? How can we make it a disruptor in its vertical? That's where Sweet Rides come into play. So after that, we implemented several things at our marketing agency, Greenstone Media, to make us different from our competitors and stand out. One of them is we became a StoryBrand certified agency. We're one of the 15 StoryBrand certified agencies in the United States. What it does is instead of offering digital marketing for our customers, we're able to offer effective digital marketing for revenue growth. We follow a proven process and plan that's worked over for 10,000 businesses where they've seen revenue growth. So as long as a company has a good product and service and they use words to describe their business, it works for them. The other thing that we've implemented to position ourselves as a disruptor, some of you may have seen the Stormtrooper helmets in our branding. That's something that we do that's for fun, and the feedback we've been getting is people like, whoa, what is that? It's a little different. And lastly, and this ties in with Sweet Rides, is we've gotten a 1966 Mustang Fastback. It's green to match our branding with Greenstone Media, and I love it. Every time we drive around, I always get people to come up and they ask, like, hey, what's the story on that? And it gives me an opportunity to give our company's pitch. And yes, we've gotten several customers from this. Again, being a disruptor in your industry or vertical may look a lot different. For me, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love classic cars. For me, it's the Ford Mustang. I always think of as the Ford Mustang as America's car. And some of you know the story of Lee Iacocca, who was infamous for identifying a problem. The problem was in the 1960s is we had a generation that got tired of some of these giant classic cars, and they were looking for something smaller, more economical, but sporty. That's where the Mustang was born. It's a story I've always loved and bought into. What do you think is America's car? Comment below. I'd love to see your feedback on that. So we're going to show you what makes Little Sebastian Mustang. That's the name of the Mustang. He's the official mascot of Greenstone Media. If you watch Parks and Rec, you know that's a pun from Parks and Rec, from the pony in there. But anyways, I'm going to show you a little bit more behind the scenes of our Mustang and what makes him different from other Mustangs. For starters, he has a 4.6 engine from a 2001 Mustang. So I get a lot of feedback every time I drive a Little Sebastian Mustang out in public, and it's been great. I get to have a lot of pitches on, what's the story on this car, and I get to do a lot of elevator pitches on what Greenstone Media is and how we help other companies grow their business with digital marketing. We've gotten several customers from it. But anyways, people that know their classic cars and know Mustangs always see a few things that's different. And again, that's why we got this car. It's doing its job. So a couple things that make it different is it's a 1966 fastback body sitting on a 1996 Mustang chassis. So as we look in the interior here, again, you're going to see it's nothing fancy, but it does the job. We've got AC and heat. You'll have to pardon the crack in the dashboard. Again, it's from a 96 Mustang. We don't have any headliner in there yet. Also, you'll see here in the back, I don't know about you, but I love listening to Spotify when I drive, so we threw in some Bluetooth speakers, and it saved us a lot of money on having to put a stereo system in. Oh, and by the way, Little Sebastian also starred in an episode of NBC's TV show, The Blacklist. But that's another story for another time. Alright gang, so just to recap, in today's vlog episode we covered what do fake news, Scott Dickers, the founder of The Onion, and Sweet Rides all have in common. And that is, these are the elements that you need to position your brand or your business as a disruptor in your industry. For us at Greenstone and for my personal brand, it's been taking a classic car, turning it to my favorite color green to advertise for our business, Greenstone Media. So that way when people see that green Mustang driving around, they go, hey, there goes the CEO of Greenstone Media where they do effective digital marketing for revenue growth. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a classic car to position your brand or your business as a disruptor, but I am going to give you some advice on what you can do here. Think about some things that you are passionate about or really love, and this is where it gets fun. Again, for me, I really love classic cars. So spend some time thinking about what do you really love? What are you passionate about? Take that, use that, and leverage it for your business or for your brand. So again, you're going to take your passion and you're going to use it to your advantage to position your brand as a disruptor. As an entrepreneur, it can be really tough to take care of yourself and your business. So stay tuned. In the next vlog episode, we're going to be talking about 6 tips for living well and thriving as an entrepreneur. Memento mori, my friends.